It was a cold and lonely section of deep space, the kind of empty where you could almost hear the silence press against the hull of your ship. Most species avoided these regions of the galaxy, but for humans, it was just another Thursday. On board the TFS Spirit of Denver, Captain Lucius Vega Saturday in his command chair, a faint smile playing on his lips. His ship, a second-tow-hand Terran frigate barely held together by the military-grade equivalent of duct tape and willpower, was alive with the sound of background diagnostics and routine maintenance. The Spirit was an old workhorse from the days of the Terran-Xen Alliance wars, hatched up and sold off as surplus after the war ended. It was now a civilian vessel, hauling everything from fuel cells to industrial ore, operating on the edge of Terran control space. This trip was supposed to be routinely simple cargo, run to the outpost on Gliese-5. But when you're flying a Terran ship with army surplus, stand on half the equipment, the concept of routine rarely held. "Captain, you might want to see this," called Ensign Morales from the sensor station. His voice carried a nervous edge, a tone that always meant trouble. Vega turned in his chair, eyebrow raised. "What's up?" "We've got an unregistered vessel on our 6, Morales said, tapping on the console. "It's running code, no transponder. Pretty sure it's a pirate." Vega sighed. Pirates weren't uncommon in this region, especially the ragtag groups formed from the detritus of the war. But any pirate dumb enough to come after a Terran frigate was either desperate or suicidal. "All right, let's not get twitchy just yet," Vega said, standing and stretching. "Hatch me through to the XO." Down in the engineering bay, Commander Samra Rhodes was elbows deep in what appeared to be a haphazard mess of wires, panels, and toolant. Her job was to keep the Spirit in one piece, which often felt like holding back a dam with a handful of thumbtacks. "Rhodes here," came her gruff voice over the intercom, her irritation evident. "Hey, we've got a tail," Vega said casually. "You might want to prep the damage control teams in case this turns into something messy." Rhodes groaned. "What now? I've got 3 conduits blown, and the backup drive is literally hanging on by a thread." "I have faith in you," Vega said, grinning despite himself. "Besides, I think we're about to have some fun." The grin wasn't shared on the other end, but he could almost hear Rhodes preparing for the inevitable chaos. Back on the bridge, Vega slid into his command seat and activated the ship-wide intercom. "All hands, this is the captain. We might be getting some unwanted attention soon. Be ready." The ship's crew, a mix of veterans and newer hires, responded with practiced efficiency. They weren't military, not anymore, but every one of them had experience with the unpredictability that came with flying a Terran vessel through the fringe systems. "Sir," Morales said, "they're closing in fast. I'm picking up energy spikes. Could be weapons." Vega leaned back, his mind racing through the options. Terran ships weren't known for being particularly fast or sleek, but they were built to take a beating and deal one out in return. "Ensign, bring the engines to full power," Vega ordered. "Let's make them work for it." As the ship surged forward, the pursuing vessel responded by firing off a series of plasma bolts. The Spirit of Denver shook violently as the energy impacted the shields, but they held for now. "They're definitely not here for a chat," Morales confirmed, his hands flying over the controls as he began calculating countermeasures. "All right, let's see what this old girl can still do," Vega said, a glint of excitement in his eyes. "Fire up the railgun and prep torpedoes." The Spirit of Denver may have been a civilian ship on paper, but it had kept a few military-grade modifications from its former life. The railgun, while not as fast or as flashy as energy weapons, had one very distinct advantage: it could punch through almost anything, provided you hit the target. "Railgun hot," Morales called out. "Target their engines. Let's see if we can slow them down," Vega ordered. The ship's targeting systems locked on, and a moment later, the frigate's railgun thundered. A streak of tungsten shot through space, tearing through the black void faster than the eye could follow. It struck the pirate vessel dead center, and for a moment, everything was quiet. Then came the telltale signs of damaged secondary explosions and an energy signature rapidly deteriorating. Direct hit. Morale said with a hint of satisfaction. Their shields are down. Engines are compromised. Good, let's open a channel, Vega said. The communication system crackled to life as the captain held the pirate ship. After a tense moment, a face appeared on the screen, a haggard, desperate alien whose species Vega couldn't immediately place. This is Captain Vega of the Spirit of Denver, he began. I suggest you cut your losses and limp away before we make this worse for you. The pirate captain scowled, his voice hissing through the static. You Terrans think you're invincible, but we're not afraid of you. Vega shrugged. You should be. This is the part where I tell you that we're carrying something a lot more dangerous than spare parts. Let me introduce you to our precious cargo. Rhodes' voice cut through the bridge comms. I've read a surprise. If they don't back off, we'll light them up. The pirate hesitated, eyes darting between his screens and the damage reports. He clearly didn't want to push his luck any further. Your cargo isn't worth it, he spat, cutting the transmission. The pirate ship began a slow retreat, its engines sputtering as they tried to get away with whatever dignity they had left. Vega relaxed, satisfied the threat had passed. Morales, make sure they're out of sensor range, then set us back on course. Yes, sir. As the ship returned to its previous trajectory, Vega tapped the comms to engineering. Nice work, Commander. I think we just steered the hell out of them. Rhodes' voice came through, sounding slightly amused. If by scare the hell out of them, you mean I barely kept the ship from falling apart during that stunt, then yes. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got some serious damage control to handle. Vega chuckled and leaned back, looking out at the stars. The Spirit of Denver sailed through the vast emptiness of space, leaving the smoldering remnants of the pirate vessel in its wake. Though the threat had passed, the ship's interior was still a hive of activity. The skirmish had rattled more than just the hull. Engineering was ablaze with frantic repairs, and the crew still felt the tension lingering in the air. Down in engineering, Commander Rhodes was barking orders at her team. Sparks flew from a ruptured conduit, while engineers scrambled to reroute systems. The Spirit of Denver might have survived that engagement, but she hadn't come out unscathed. Get that panel sealed before we lose more coolant, Rhodes growled, wiping sweat from her brow as she surveyed the damage. The ship's core systems were holding, but only just. As one of her junior engineers ran past with a plasma torch, she tapped her comms, connecting to the bridge. Captain, we've stabilized the drive, but we've got damage in the aft section. Shields took kibbing. Gonna need at least a day or two to patch everything up. Vega's voice came back, calm as ever. Do what you can. Rose, how's the cargo? Rhodes glanced at the manifest station, her brow furrowing slightly. The cargo bay had taken a near hit during the fight, and though the ship's automated systems hadn't flagged anything critical, something about the manifest still made her uneasy. It's intact, she responded, though with a touch of hesitation. But you might want to take a look at it yourself, Captain. Something doesn't feel right down here. There was a brief silence on the other end, the kind of silence that came when Vega's gut instinct was kicking in. On my way, he said, before cutting the connection. A few minutes later, Captain Vega entered the cargo bay, where the sound of humming machines and creaking containers greeted him. The bay was massive, filled with rows upon rows of storage crates, some marked with standard civilian codes, others less so. The Spirit of Denver's cargo holds were notorious for carrying more than what appeared on the manifest. Rhodes stood next to one of the largest containers, a frown etched on her face as she reviewed the data on her tablet. Vega approached, leaning casually against the railing as he glanced at the massive crate. Care to explain why we're staring at a giant metal box like it's about to bite? Vega asked, folding his arms. This crate was flagged during diagnostics, Rhodes said, not looking up. It's supposed to be carrying mining equipment for the Khaleesi colony, but I ran a deep scan after that hit, and something's off. There's a strange energy signature coming from inside. Vega raised an eyebrow. Energy signature from mining gear. Exactly. Doesn't add up. Rhodes tapped the crate. Whatever's in here, it's not just drilling equipment. Vega's eyes narrowed. The Terran Republic was known for shipping dangerous and valuable cargo under the guise of innocuous goods, especially in civilian vessels like his. But this felt different. "Let's crack it open," Vega said, straightening up. "I want to know what we're dealing with." Rose gave a curt nod and signaled the crew. Within moments, a couple of techs were unlocking the crate, their plasma torches cutting through the thick metal seals. As the crate hissed open, the cold mist of the cryogenic stasis chamber inside spilled out, casting a ghostly fog over the deck. What they saw inside made them all stop. Rows of suspended stasis pods lined the interior, each one holding a single occupant humanoid, but not human. Their skin was pale, almost translucent, and their bodies were frail, as though they hadn't seen sunlight in centuries. "What the hell?" Vega muttered, stepping closer. He could make out the faint breathing patterns of the beings inside, the soft rise and fall of their chests. Rhodes' face was grim. "These are no miners, Captain." "I'll say," Vega replied, kneeling to inspect one of the stasis pods. A small control panel on the side of the pod blinked, and as he brushed away some of the frost, he could read the text. "Precious cargo, Terran Republic Priority Alpha." "Well, that explains the energy signature," Vega said darkly. "Whatever these things are, someone up high didn't want them waking you being found." Rhodes crossed her arms. "What are we supposed to do with them? We've got no instructions, no explanation for why we're hauling stasis pods filled with aliens." Vega stood, rubbing the back of his neck. His mind raced as he considered the possibilities. Whatever this cargo was, it was valuable, maybe even dangerous, and the fact that it was hidden on his ship without any clear instructions meant there were layers of secrets involved, veteran secrets. Before Vega could respond, Morale's voice crackled through the comms. "Captain, we've got a problem." Vega's gaze shot toward the ceiling as he activated the intercom. "Go ahead, Ensign." "Picking up another ship on sensors," Morale said, his tone serious. "Looks like they're heading straight for us, and they're a lot bigger than our previous friends." Vega's jaw tightened. This wasn't a coincidence, not with the cargo they just uncovered. "Can you with them?" he asked. "Negative," Morales replied, "but they're broadcasting on encrypted channels. Whoever they are, they've got military-grade tech." Vega cursed under his breath. The situation had just gone from bad to worse. "Ruth, close that crate and get everything sealed up," Vega ordered. "We're about to have company." Rhodes didn't need to be told twice. She motioned for the techs to reseal the cargo container, while Vega sprinted back toward the bridge. His mind was already running through scenarios. Whoever this new ship belonged to, they were after the stasis pods and Vega wasn't about to let them board his vessel without a fight. As Vega reached the bridge, the looming shape of the approaching ship filled the main view screen. It was sleek, dark, and bristling with weaponry, definitely not civilian. "Ensign, open a channel," Vega said, standing tall as he stared down the new threat. There was a brief pause before a voice came through the comms. "Terran vessel, this is the Dominion fleet. You're in possession of cargo that does not belong to you. Power down your ship and prepare for boarding, or we will destroy you."